Mysteries, huh?
Yeah,
Well,
Thomas.
He will read it out loud as well as he comes out.
Yeah.
We're not Newport.
We're not.
That actually is a mistake on the Game Master. That should say Foghaven, not Newport.
I figured as much.
My apologies.
Okay.
Fog. Oh, wait, guys, wait, guys. The note just reworks itself. You know, magic. Foghaven.
Did he say anything else?
Something about surviving lots of things. He didn't survive.
Nothing else.
Very
then?
good work, Tempus.
Nothing much. I
guess-
mean nothing much. The most I got was the note.
I guess that's what was meant when they said when that spirit said you're not welcome in Foghaven.
So 17 silver pieces combined on the 4 knolls. You have the note and then the fragment of a dragon's toenail.
All on my loot list.
Onyx in color, edged with a
Yeah.
glowing magical symbol of a ring.
I guess what he'll do is he'll take out the coins and he'll find this toe and he'll go, "Oh, magical people, I think you might be interested in this." He holds out the toe for people.
Excuse me. Yes.
What is it?
It is exactly what it says on the 10. In order to try to learn anything more about it, you will, one of you will have to attempt a difficult divination, which would be an intelligence-based skill check using a magical background. It will take roughly a half hour to complete.
Maybe we should let me handle this.
Also, isn't there still screaming outside?
Oh yes, there is.
We should
There's
probably handle
still
the
quite a number of
we-
panicking, quite a bit of panicking, and as you folks and as Dwohurim mentions that up the staircase comes an armored and furious Bjorni. Like he's got like a battle axe in hand. He is ready to kill.
Thomas is just going to point at the corpses again.
4 in total.
Knolls?
Apparently, yes.
Yes, gnolls. Not quite what I expected.
In my tavern?
Assassins, it seems like.
We didn't invite them.
Technically, they're just sort of, ornaments now.
Bjorni blinks at Tempus. I thought there was only 4 of you. It doesn't matter. Nothing matters.
We'll find him later.
Like
I'm compact.
like Bjorni goes into a fit of rage. He absolutely insists that you folks stay through the morning. He will get you bastards fed. He promises to protect you with his life until the end of the morning when you leave. He is adamantly enraged that someone has broken into his tavern. He actually calls people up. The night guard comes. They inspect the situation. They clear out the bodies. They don't ask you any questions. They don't want to know what happens. They take away the gnolls. They're gone. Have servants up
Then
there.
we'll deal with it.
They clean up the
Oh,
blood.
Temperature ornaments are gone.
Right. Well, they were quite ugly, and they were kind of starting to stink up the joint.
And as people are calmed down, like servants are up there to clean the blood up and like repair the damage to the glass window in the hallway. The tavern does kick back to life. You folks are fed a hale and hearty meal, if you would like to wish to stay, and that would be more than enough time for Dwohurim to make a divination skill check on this toenail.
Let's do it.
Leon's ordering 2 breakfasts.
try to.
Bjorni is in enough of a mood that he will oblige. He is angry that the lives of his tavern goers have been threatened. Okay. Let's see here. Now, the item is functioning, and this is curious, Dwohurim, as a sort of an IOU from a dragon who borrowed a treasure from the now deceased Null. You managed to get a single word etched in, El Marune, which appears in your mind in the divination. However, as you're exploring and doing the divination, a sort of vision comes across your own eyes, like your mind's eye, that of sapphire eyes and a draconic growl. I see you. And, of course, you can determinate the divination at that end.
Yeah. That seems like a good idea.
Did you just magically poke a dragon?
Well, I suppose you'll come down a little bit shaken, sort of looking at the others. Says, this is, I found something for certain. Does anyone know the name Almarune?
I can safely say that none of the player characters have heard of that name.
But someone knew someone by that name.
Nose all around.
Well, regardless, it is connected to someone by that name. It is also, apparently, a dragon borrowed something from these gnolls.
A dragon. Oh, it's a toenail, I see. That is strange.
So
Yes.
It's no use to us then.
Yes, we should keep on to it.
Could I take a look, perhaps? I mean, it's harmless, right?
I guessed.
It is harmless, right?
Well, when I tried to mess with it, did see a vision of sapphire eyes looking at me in the eyelids and just telling me that I was being observed. In a bit harsher words.
Uh-huh. So do
Your
you...
definition of harmless is way different from mine. If
But take a look,
whatever,
please. Hand him the toenail.
sure, damage Thomas Drugs just takes it for
No.
a moment.
As described, that large toenail fragment is onyx in color, and it does have that glowing magical symbol of a ring very clearly etched into it.
So the ring is probably the treasure, would be the assumption here.
Yes, that's what Dwohurim would be able to divine.
And this is just a dragon's way of telling someone that he wants to give it back eventually. One would
Yeah, I
assume that they would
suppose.
just use paper, would they?
Hard to press a dragon for anything like that. Imagine.
So what you're saying is that this piece of said dragon must have some sort of power over him, perhaps?
Some way or it would be worthless.
Well, you say that you were being observed. Do you still think it's a good idea to keep it? Maybe we can see where we are.
Dwohurim would know that what transpired was a consequence of perhaps an improper, somewhat unsuccessful divination thing, and that he accidentally alerted whoever he was attempting to divine due to the divination. So there was a moment there where they touched minds.
He'll say that he reached out, and sometimes when you reach out, you can reach too far, and so he reached the mind of whoever this item sort of belongs to.
Oh, I see.
But the dragon toenail itself, as far as Dwohurim is aware, is harmless.
So what should we do with it?
Do you want to keep it, Thomas, or should I take it?
Well, if it's simply a trinket with no use, I would certainly like to keep it. If it has power over said dragon, I would even more like to keep it. It would be
Right.
foolish not to. But I am rather worried because
Might be able to
Well-
look at you through it, but it's unlikely.
how unlikely.
Like 25%.
Perhaps you should keep it then.
All right then. Grimith's taking his backpack. It's already seen him.
The damage has been done already, and whatever item this trinket is related to, if it's powerful and this dragon doesn't want us to bother him, then we might soon be in trouble. now that he's known that we have it, or you have it, I suppose.
I'm sure this dragon wouldn't have given Tonell Clippington Knolls if he really cared about it.
Tempus, the Knoll didn't mention Drakenhall by any chance, did he?
What did the Noel say he was a survivor of again?
Drakenhall.
Tempest just saying
Obviously.
this.
Thomas sighs.
It looks at Thomas. Have you ever been there?
I can't say that I have, but as you might remember, there were other, well, things related to Drakenhall that have bothered me.
Oh,
rather
most certainly.
recently.
This whole arena fight. It would have been in Newport right now if it hadn't been for that. Not trudging around here, saving people's lives.
And there was that blue sorcerer we met, like, earlier
Oh, yes,
in the
that's
week.
true. Forgot about him.
I didn't.
To be honest, there's been a lot of things. True. That's it. I don't think I've killed as many people ever as I have now. In such a short amount of time as well. Shakes his head slightly.
Bjorni, I don't suppose you know anything about this thing we found on the knoll, do you?
What? The,
Onyx toenail.
the toenail? Looks like a dragon's toenail to me. I don't collect dragon toenails, so no thank you.
Would be a
You,
difficult collection to keep.
Do you know of someone called El Marune?
Bjorni rolls his eyes up. That sounds like the lightning worm. I do believe I have heard tales of a blue dragon who goes by that name. I seem to recall that the tale is mentioned somewhere within the region, perhaps closer to Newport than to here. I don't know her exact location.
Unfortunate.
Not that I would have any particular interest in visiting a blue dragon anyway. I'm a bit retired.
It seems like she owes us a ring of some sort. Now,
Is that so?
he shakes his head slightly and puts the toenail back.
Well, I've never known a blue dragon to keep her word, other than the blue, but that is due to a magical geese placed on her by the Empire, I think.
I doubt you know of that many blue dragons.
Oh. I have been fortunate in that I haven't come across that many dragons in my time. I only know the name Al-Marune because of my time here in Foghaven. It's a bard's tale, if you will. Dragons, all sorts of things that they like to share, with their poetry and whatever they sing about.
I do sing a lot. Now, we were supposed to go do something today. We hardly have time to just sit around.
I'll just go ahead and I lost my train of thought already. Bjorni is, of course, going to linger around you folks for as long as you're here within the tavern. He's pretty adamant on protecting you folks. It seems as if perhaps his honor has been offended in some way. And as the divination is being finished and meals are had, the hushed silence falls over the tavern again. Not that it wasn't that exciting to begin with. And this will trigger both of the Archmage rolls that Manaki had, as Lord Inator again walks back into the tavern.
Me and that guy, we just see eye to eye.
Yes, and scans the crowd quickly, the crowd who's a little bit fearful, spots Dwohurim specifically, and saunters over.
Sure.
Bjorni, looks at Lord Inator. They share, a nod towards each other. It's not even that disdainful of a nod from Lord Enitor. He already, like, steps away for a bit. Oh, hello. It is so pleasant to see all of you, particularly you, Dwohurim Harsca. Lord Enitor actually appears to be in a pleasant mood, as in, not snobbish.
Oh, how wonderful. You weren't an awesome. Says, you too.
I have come personally to thank you, Dwohurim Harsca, as well as you others, eyes lingering on Tempus, for your work here. You have made my life and job, particularly with your personal actions at the Ruin Tower, far easier. No other corruption has spread to any of the other wards. The magical nodes are safe, and the Archmage and Empire have you to thank for that.
I'm relieved to hear that the Empire is safe again.
More than having done a great service, you freed up my time. I do like to linger in Foghaven, but my job as part of the machine takes me so many other places. As such, I will grant you a boon of sorts. Bjorni has made mention to me of senators and you wishing to possibly engage in the politics for whatever reason.
I'm sort of half nods.
Well, what was it that you were hoping to achieve?
Well, it's a rather long story.
Lord,
Explain.
I have the time. Which is actually heartfelt. He does appear to have the time to listen.
You know, I'll make room for him to sit down then, because
Alright.
it is a long story.
Lord Enitor will have a seat. The peasantry will, like, look at the table every now and then, but he'll, like, scowl at them, and they'll stop looking.
Oh, good. Good. He has the respect at least. Well, you begin telling the story of us arriving here, being attacked by different things, the letter from the Melkor estate, and actually not really put fingers in between and simply lay out the information we have about the Melkors as it is, and get to the point of the undead in their place, the way that Emilia sort of chastised Ree, and our beginning to think and piecing things together that the Lich King might be involved in this and actually want there to be a war between the High Druid and the Archmage. As such, we would like to basically avoid war in any way we can. And it seems right now that the city council is pretty dominated by someone who really wants that to happen.
Lord Enitor will listen to the facts as you have, and he'll say, I agree with your sage interpretation, Dwohurim. The ability to disrupt that ward is certainly within the realm of a druid, but even with how aggressive the High Druid is, I can't imagine her wanting war. Not right now. Not in this place. It is more likely that a third party would seek to instigate it, and combined with the information, there might be enough suspicion that the long-lived Massilia might be in league with the Lich King.
So I'm not mad then.
I would agree with your interpretation, yes. To that effect, the Lord Enitor actually cracks his neck, like moving it from the side to side. The Archmage has connections with two of the senators. There is an elf among them, Miriani Astier. The Archmage has done many things for her in her insignificant life. No matter what she might think, I can lean on her, he says with some measure of satisfaction. If you wish her to do something, that would not be difficult at all. We'll call it a favor for the Archmage.
That's as well. That certainly adds one to our team.
And, that Senator Wilder as well, Cameron Wilder, he made his name, selling magical services that he would not have been able to acquire without the assistance of yours truly, Lord Inator. So it would be rather unfortunate for him, even in his current position, if Lord Inator himself were to show up and say, "You should rethink this."
Once again,
They
true
are,
for true.
they are an insignificant lot, easily manipulated. It has its drawbacks, but there are conveniences. He smiles.
So if we could get some sort of majority in the council, we would technically be able to free Camilla.
Yes, and I hear that the trial itself is set to begin. Oh, at the end of this week. The final, well, maybe not free day. I think it was the 1st of Ready Rate. You have a few days remaining for your goals, whatever they might be.
That's just very well then. I suppose there's no time to waste. Your aid has been not insignificant.
Indeed, I normally do not spend my time handling such affairs, but your presence here at Dwohurim Harsca has forced me to rethink things, particularly how you have made my life easier, so too shall I make yours. You still plan on heading for this Ravinger, yes? It seems prudent.
Sherman says, I believe so, especially with the note we found in the estate, the Milkwood estate.
Indeed, I will get on with exerting my influence. Lord Inator will stand up from the table and, stroll out of the tavern.
Yeah.
Good thing he's not our enemy.
He's a great man.
That's very useful.
How's the peasantry doing?
They seem much relieved now that he's gone. Bjorny comes back over and says, "Well, I certainly did not expect to hear anything positive from him. Usually quite disdainful to others." And,
Roxon says, I suppose he just misses talking to someone of his own caliber.
Bjorny gives Dwohurim an appraising look. And before you folks can leave, we're triggering another icon relationship roll.
Excellent.
This one will be shorter.
Push out the door quickly.
That's right. Run. This one will be Leon's Priestess 5. A young girl in Lord Inator's wake will walk in. Politely dressed girl. Seems to be one of the common folk, though. Not that much to her. Wave will walk up to Bjorny, and since he's right next to you folks, you'll be able to hear and see her just fine. She'll introduce herself as a messenger from Father Beridian, and request that Bjorny direct her to a Leon. Bjorny looks at the girl and looks over at Leon.
Well, very well then. Let's see what this father would like. Just finished my breakfast anyway.
The girl pipes up. Oh, you're. She looks back at Bjorny to Leon. Oh, it is such a pleasure to meet you. She walks over and she curtsies before Leon. I don't have a token for her.
He smiles and gives a warm smile.
The father is still busy with senatorial business, but he would like to send his regards to you. He has heard of your name and your reputation, Leon, and he would like to send his heartfelt congratulations on your name, as well as the names of your companions being cleared of any wrongdoing.
That is very kind of him.
Tempus is definitely leaning forwards in this.
Well, of course, he did not do it personally. It was Senator Melkor who brought it up, but he, once he heard of your reputation, was firmly behind it. And you certainly do have a great one, as he said. And he also offered an invitation that you may visit him, perhaps once you've taken care of your other business here in Foghaven.
You can inform him, and I will likely take him up on that offer.
She curtsies again, and she will scurry off. Yorni blinks in surprise again and says, "And your names have been cleared too? Ah! You five are full of
Surprises?
mysterious resources."
Apparently, yes.
Friends is one part of it.
And then, as she leaves, we're triggering Tempus's Prince of Shadows.
Oh
Round
god.
3!
What? No.
You don't see someone walk in the door.
You see 4 dwarves emerge into the tavern.
Yes. It absolutely ends up coming up. An individual who already ended up being in the tavern, who no one really paid much mind to, because no one pays much attention at all to the brooding sorts who sit nursing a drink in the dark corners at all hours of a tavern.
How many dark corners are there in a tavern? I mean, seriously.
Depends on how the tavern is shaped. Like, if it was a star shape, you might have quite a bit of
Strider.
corners. Yeah.
At least 3,
Every
one
corner.
would assume.
Yes, but he has a black cloak with the hood up, even at this time. And it does have some rain on it, because it is raining outside. And he will specifically glide up to Tempus, with barely a whisper of his feet. "You're a hard man to find, Tempus."
Tempus doesn't even turn around. I'm imagining he slipped up behind him. He goes,
Yes.
It's always hard to be found, especially when you don't really know where you've teleported off to. You should try turning into a bug. It's a really good disguise.
Your humor is beyond me, as I was told it would be.
And Tempus turns to have a look at the shadow.
He actually has a mask on, a dark mask. It is impossible to see his face, though he does have some light skin. And the peasantry don't pay him any fucking notice or attention at all. Sort of like he looks completely as anyone else would, instead of out of the ordinary.
Tempus, eyes him up once more and goes, "Impressive disguise. You don't look inconspicuous at all, but apparently you don't look inconspicuous. Impressive. Now, what would you like?"
Well, the individual looks over at Bjorny. "Might I borrow your room? You know I pay the usual rates." Bjorny says, "I will alleviate that, if I can come along, as well as all the others sitting at this table." "Very well. You may all listen in. To Shade." And, quietly, and without attracting undue attention, he will glide a flutter of his dark cloak to the back of the room, basically leading you down to the quiet, silenced room where no sound can escape. And he will say, "Again, you are a difficult man to track, but it is the business of Shade, who oversees information collection within this region. I'm the go-to man for anything you might wish to know. I've lived quite a while. I've learned many things, and it seems that you have a bit of a boon coming up for you, Tempus."
What's the charge?
"I have a problem known as the Whispering Ravenger. He's bad for business. Many of the people I know who engage in business aren't too much into him. He's been quite a limiting factor, particularly on how he has noble support. No organized banditry can exist without noble support, and his is more insulting than anything else, but quite effective."
So, for this boon, you want me to take care of the Whispering Ravenger.
Word has traveled fast, even though it's only been a couple of days. Bandits who have escaped, who witnessed, after arriving too late to help anything, saw the carnage at the Ravenger's hideout. Now, I don't know where you think you might find Rav, but I know Rav, and I can take you straight to his secret bolt hole, where he would have undoubtedly escaped to if you are the ones who caused such a slaughter. And I think you are.
Tempus will look just coyly at, not coyly, just sort of out of the corner of his eye, just look at Leon.